Writing: the S-3 Viking is one of those aircraft that rarely gets the same attention as famous fighters like the F-14 Tomcat, F/A-18 Hornet, or F-22 Raptor, yet it played a critical role in protecting American aircraft carriers and maintaining U.S. naval dominance across the world's oceans. Built during the height of the Cold War, the S-3 Viking was designed to hunt one of America's greatest threats at sea, Soviet submarines. While fighter jets captured headlines with their speed and aerial combat capabilities, the Viking quietly performed missions that were equally important, tracking enemy submarines, monitoring surface ships, gathering intelligence, and supporting carrier battle groups far from home. The story of the S-3 Viking begins in the 1960s when the U.S. Navy realized it needed a more capable carrier-based anti-submarine warfare aircraft. Soviet submarine technology was advancing rapidly, and the growing fleet of nuclear-powered submarines represented a serious threat to American naval forces. Existing aircraft were becoming outdated and lacked the advanced systems needed to detect increasingly quiet submarines operating beneath the ocean's surface. The Navy wanted a modern aircraft capable of long-range patrols, sophisticated submarine detection, and operation from aircraft carriers. This requirement led to the development of what would become the S-3 Viking. Lockheed won the competition to build the aircraft and created a design that was unlike most carrier aircraft of its era. Instead of focusing on speed or dogfighting ability, the Viking was optimized for endurance, sensor capability, and mission flexibility. The aircraft featured a twin-engine configuration powered by General Electric TF-34 turbofan engines. These engines provided reliability, fuel efficiency, and sufficient power for long patrol missions over vast stretches of ocean. The aircraft's high-mounted wings and sturdy landing gear were specifically designed to handle the demanding environment of aircraft carrier operations. One of the most distinctive features of the S-3 Viking was its four-person crew. While many military aircraft rely on one or two crew members, the Viking required a team approach. The pilot and co-pilot managed flight operations while two additional crew members operated the aircraft's advanced mission systems. These specialists monitored sonar data, radar information, electronic surveillance equipment, and communication systems. Working together, the crew formed a highly effective submarine hunting team capable of tracking threats hidden beneath the waves. The first flight of the S-3 Viking took place in 1972, and the aircraft entered operational service with the U.S. Navy in 1974. It quickly became a vital component of carrier air wings. During the Cold War, American aircraft carriers often operated in regions where Soviet submarines posed a significant threat. The Viking's primary mission was to locate, identify, and track these submarines before they could threaten friendly ships. This was a challenging task because submarines are specifically designed to remain hidden. Detecting them requires advanced technology, patience, and highly trained crews. To accomplish its mission, the S-3 Viking carried an impressive array of sensors. One of its most important tools was the sonobuoy system. Sonobuoys are small floating devices dropped into the ocean that listen for underwater sounds. Once deployed, they transmit acoustic information back to the aircraft. By analyzing these sounds, Viking crews could identify submarine signatures and determine their location. Multiple sonobuoys could be deployed over a large area, creating an extensive listening network beneath the sea. The aircraft also featured advanced radar systems capable of detecting ships and other surface targets. This radar allowed the Viking to conduct maritime surveillance missions, tracking vessels across vast ocean regions. In addition to radar and sonobuoys, the aircraft carried electronic surveillance equipment designed to intercept and analyze enemy communications and electronic emissions. These capabilities made the Viking a valuable intelligence-gathering platform. Another important system carried by the S-3 Viking was the Magnetic Anomaly Detector, commonly known as MAD. This device was mounted on an extended tail boom and could detect subtle changes in Earth's magnetic field caused by large metal objects such as submarines. While not effective over long distances, the MAD system provided confirmation when the aircraft was close to a suspected submarine location. Combined with sonar and radar data, it significantly increased the aircraft's detection capabilities. The Viking was not merely a surveillance aircraft. It was also armed and capable of engaging enemy targets. The aircraft could carry torpedoes specifically designed to destroy submarines. These weapons could be launched once a submarine was detected and accurately tracked. The Viking could also carry sea mines, depth bombs, and anti-ship missiles, giving it flexibility against both underwater and surface threats. This combination of sensors and weapons made it a true hunter-killer platform. Life aboard an aircraft carrier is demanding, and operating from a carrier requires specialized engineering. The S-3 Viking was equipped with folding wings to save space on crowded flight decks and hangar bays. It also featured a strong arresting hook that allowed it to land safely on carriers using arresting cables stretched across the deck. Catapult launch capability enabled the aircraft to take off quickly even when carrying heavy fuel and weapons loads. These features ensured the Viking could operate effectively in the challenging carrier environment. Throughout the Cold War, Viking crews conducted countless patrols over the Atlantic, Pacific, Mediterranean, and other strategic waterways. Many of these missions remain classified or poorly documented, but their importance cannot be overstated. Every submarine tracked, every contact identified, and every threat monitored contributed to the security of U.S. naval forces. The aircraft often operated far from public attention, quietly performing missions that helped maintain strategic stability during one of the most tense periods in modern history. As technology evolved and geopolitical circumstances changed, the role of the S-3 Viking expanded beyond anti-submarine warfare. The aircraft proved remarkably adaptable and capable of performing a variety of missions. Maritime surveillance became increasingly important as naval commanders sought greater awareness of activity across the oceans. The Viking's radar and sensor suite made it well suited for monitoring shipping lanes, identifying suspicious vessels, and supporting fleet operations. The aircraft also demonstrated value in electronic intelligence missions. By collecting and analyzing electronic signals, Viking crews could gather information about potential adversaries without direct confrontation. This capability supported military planning and enhanced situational awareness for naval commanders. Intelligence collected by Viking crews often contributed to a broader understanding of regional security environments. One of the most significant changes in the Vikings' operational history occurred after the end of the Cold War. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, the submarine threat that had driven the aircraft's development diminished considerably. As a result, the Navy began shifting the aircraft's focus toward other missions. The upgraded S-3B variant featured enhanced avionics, improved sensors, and greater mission flexibility. These upgrades allowed the aircraft to remain relevant despite changing strategic priorities. Among its new responsibilities was aerial refueling. The Viking proved surprisingly effective as a carrier-based tanker aircraft. By carrying external fuel tanks and refueling equipment, it could extend the range and endurance of fighter jets and other carrier aircraft. This mission became increasingly important as modern air operations required greater flexibility and longer reach. The Viking's ability to support other aircraft helped maximize the effectiveness of carrier air wings. The aircraft also participated in numerous military operations around the world. During Operation Desert Storm in 1991, S-3 Vikings conducted surveillance, reconnaissance, tanker support, and maritime patrol missions. Their contributions helped coalition forces maintain awareness of activity in the Persian Gulf and surrounding regions. The aircraft's versatility made it a valuable asset during complex military campaigns. In addition to combat operations, Vikings frequently supported humanitarian missions, search and rescue efforts, and maritime security operations. Their long endurance allowed them to cover large areas efficiently, making them useful during emergencies and disaster response situations. The aircraft's crews often demonstrated remarkable professionalism and adaptability while carrying out diverse assignments. Perhaps one of the most famous moments in the aircraft's history occurred in 2003 when President George W. Bush flew aboard an S-3B Viking to the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. The aircraft received the call sign, Navy 1, becoming the first Navy aircraft to transport a sitting president. Images of the president arriving aboard the Viking gained worldwide attention and introduced many people to an aircraft that had spent decades operating largely outside the public spotlight. Despite its impressive service record, the S-3 Viking eventually faced retirement. Advances in technology, changing military priorities, and budget considerations led the Navy to phase out the aircraft. By the early 2000s, anti-submarine warfare responsibilities were increasingly being transferred to helicopters and other platforms. Improvements in sensor technology allowed different aircraft and systems to perform missions that had once required dedicated fixed-wing submarine hunters.